I'm going to pause the recording. Welcome all to the second in our latest series of the Creative Toolkits. I have to loiter on this slide for you to register your attendance to an Aspect micro credential. So while I loiter on this, so this is this. Oh, thank you. Robin's put the link into the chat as well. So if you can't scan the QR code, that's the link to fill in to make sure you fill your form and get your micro credentials. Robin, while we leave this one loitering, can you tell us a little bit more about the Creative Toolkits program and also your role and why this came together as a great idea?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, hi everybody. So Creative Toolkits or Creative Tools has been an evolving series that Lucy and I have been putting together and has been very much sort of sponsored by Aspect all the way through. So we're very grateful to Aspect for doing that. In my day job, I work at the University of Bristol, and across Bristol and other universities, we see loads of amazing projects. And some of them are commercialization, which is the area I work in, but others are doing other things, public engagement, in policy. And one of the things that we see with projects that do really, really well is they tend to be able to communicate what they're doing. So we know the projects are doing good stuff, but getting it out there, reaching their audiences, and that often builds the momentum so that they can come back and further develop their projects again, which is what we love to see. So that's where this kind of particular sort of idea for this session has come from. Yeah, I'll hand back over to you now.
And it keeps evolving with your feedback as attendees. So every time we've run one of these, we've come back and said, what else can we do? So it's evolved. So we're not running the same sessions every time. And even when we do run sessions, especially on AI, like the Blue was one yesterday, it felt like lots of things have changed. I'm always learning on these sessions. So AI tools yesterday with Blue, which we will be sharing the recording of. We've got project communication and planning today with the wonderful Joanne. Next week, we've got a bit of a change to the plan schedule, which we will be communicating officially to everybody later. So if it's not in your diaries with this topic, we will be sending that through, because I had a fantastic chat with a lady called April yesterday. She's going to be joining us next week to do feedback to insight, rethinking progress and impact. We've then got video storytelling with Ross. We've got AI for creativity with Jules, who's looking at some of the best practices, but also the evolution around that. I think juxtaposition sometimes with using AI with creativity and not compromising your values. Lots going on in that one. And then finishing off with immersive technologies, how to use AR, VR, and XR. And we've got some great project examples where visualization and using technology to tell your story differently, which will be a theme across all of these. But we'll send you all those information. I'm hoping Anne can put the link in. So thank you to Lottie for putting it back in there to the form. And that's enough for me. Joanne, thank you for joining us.
Hi. I'm glad to be here. I'm going to pop my slides on while I try to multitask, which is always a skill, isn't it? Trying to make sure everything's going. Can you see my screen? Great.
I can indeed.
So, hi everyone. My name's Joanne Boyce. I'm really excited to be here actually because Lucy tapped me up to do this and she was just like, you know, you're a nerd. Come and talk about the things you like to talk about. So a little bit about me. I spent 8 years advising organizations around how to do their marketing inclusively. And my undergrad was psychology. I thought I was going to be a clinical psychologist. That did not pan out. But I really enjoyed marketing because it allowed me the opportunity to like implement a lot of that psychological thinking when you're thinking about campaigns and so forth. And then the juxtaposition of making campaigns inclusive was really interesting. But somewhere through my career, I got frustrated of what I felt like was telling people really obvious things, like telling them, okay, if you want to find a photo of a black woman or an Indian woman in a stock photography platform, you need to type the words black woman or stock or Indian woman. So I had the amazing idea in COVID to try and build a tool, an AI to help people learn these things. What ended up happening was I did a master's in data science and fell into the rabbit hole of understanding how algorithms are biased, how AI is biased, and doing my research paper around the bias within like marketing ads and scripts and how AI can predict that. Ooh, I saw someone's hand go up there. Don't know if Imagine that. But yeah,
I'll,
how AI
I'll
tools.
keep an eye on for that for you, my dear. I'm your hostess. I'm your wing woman. So I'll keep an eye on that. You just talk the good stuff.
Okay. I was like, I saw it and it disappeared. Um, how algorithms, how the scripts that we've put into marketing content has then influenced the algorithms that we use today and the impact language and marketing has on algorithms. So that's what my master's was about. And that's what I then turned into the product Include AI, which people can go in and put in content and have it checked for biased language. This was all before the huge rise of ChatGPT. So it still is hard work, and we're still doing a lot of research today, looking at how language changes in terms of regions and how one of the theories that I'm exploring right now is will British English continue to survive in a world that's dominated by American AI models? But that is not the subject for today. For today, I want us to really think about these AI tools in a particular way. So one of my key things is a lot of the media we're hearing around AI is that it's this amazing thing. It's this amazing dog, this amazing puppy that's been trained to do all these wonderful things. And it's going to help us with our homework, with our housework. It's going to help us with everything. If you've seen the latest news, they even have like the house robots that are going to go around and wash dishes, but they can't even do that. But when thinking about AI for communication and academia, I really want to ground it in this element of it will always be a puppy. It will always be that thing that is super excited to see you, super excited to help, but you have to guide, you have to instruct, you have to navigate. So when we're talking about AI through this session, just think about how are you going to guide that puppy to get the best results for you. Um, I love generating these images as well and the prompts. So this was from October this year using Google Gemini. I know a lot of people hear about ChatGPT, but Google Gemini is a really good model as well. Um, and it took one try actually to get the black woman training a puppy. 2 years ago, it would have taken 12 tries because it just wouldn't understand the concept of a black woman.
I don't even know where to go with that sentence. That's just ridiculous, isn't it? I forgot to let everybody know to put your questions in chat as you go along. That's what I'm here for with Joyanne, because we're running this webinar style to make it easier, basically good to view back. We keep it all in chat. So do talk to us while we're going through, because one of the best things about this is we can talk to you in real time. And as per yesterday, we are recording this. So if you miss anything or want to watch it back, because we will cover a lot of good stuff, it'll all be there for you after the event.
And also make sure that, oh, the other bit we're going to say as well is if anyone has any papers that are already published, we're going to have an interactive bit later. But I would love to use some of your examples of work you have published or things you have already out there and really ground it in ways that we can use these tools to do that. So drop any papers or any links that you have that you're allowed to share publicly into the chat and we can have a look at some of the research you're doing.
And see what the
So
tools can do to it. I mean, that's fun because we did this a little bit earlier, didn't we, with some of the stuff you worked on, and my mind was slightly blown, which is why I love these sessions too. Go,
you
I
get
shut
so
up now.
surprised. It's
Yeah.
just like, oh, I didn't know it can do this and it can do that. But yes,
But every
drop
time,
the
like we just moved into
things.
logging into Zoom today, it's different to how it was yesterday. We were playing, and this is it with technology. They don't announce releases anymore. It just keeps evolving.
And that's the thing. That's why I love the puppy analogy because you think you trained the dog to do this one thing and then it comes back and you're like, why did you bring me a metal pole when I taught you how to get a stick? It's excited. It still brought you a stick shaped thing, but it just
Yeah.
wasn't the thing you wanted. But before we dive into the tools, what I really like to ground, this is coming from like my marketing background and some research as well, is why do you do what you do? So please pop in the chat any research that you're doing or any things that you're subject. I'm really curious to know why you do what you do because it's super important to know your why in approaching using these tools because you can get sucked into a rabbit hole. You can spend half an hour like Lucy and I do on Zoom where you're really trying to figure out, okay, what's all these things, but what was the original objective? I know with my research, I wanted to see how much an algorithm could be swayed by the language it was trained on, and how much of that language in commercial scripts was biased in ways that I predicted. So I predicted things like toys would be more biased to mothers because I assumed that's the language they're going to use. And I predicted commercials about cars would be more biased towards men. That wasn't the case. A lot of the cars and sports commercials were actually quite neutral. So when I found that and I went back to my why of like, I want people to know these things are possible, that helps me ground how I use the tools and what I built because I wanted to share that why. I wanted to make sure that I was going back to what I was doing, why I was doing it, and then looking at how the tools can help me. Because overall, in what you're doing, whatever research you're taking, there is an end goal. The end goal for some people could be just to write that paper, but the ideally end goal, and while you're on this course, is to share it and get it out there and get people to know about it. The goal for myself with my research was to really give people the tools and give people things that they can spot biases, engage with it, understand it, ask questions. One of the nicest thing someone mentioned was it's really good when you're able to fail in private and learn in private. Because sometimes with work, you have to do it publicly. So that was my goal. My goal was to do the research, understand why it was happening, what was going on, and then get it out there and engage with as many people as possible. And when you're thinking about those goals, sometimes it can be a little bit hard to like pin down how it relates. But this is a really good framework. We use it a lot for marketing of like going through whatever your objective is, somehow it can convert to a marketing goal and then it can convert to a metric. So I think one of the main ones with anyone, uh, I've got some whys in the chat. Anyone who does any research is you want people to read it. You want people to become aware of it. So that marketing goal is awareness. And it's awareness beyond these are the people I send it to, these are the people that I directly link it to, is greater awareness. So when you're looking at the marketing metrics you would track is impressions, follower growth, shares. I feel for academia, in terms of what you would track, is more so saves. So I don't know if you've seen the little bookmark on all these social platforms where people can save things. That to me, for any kind of research-based work, is way more important than a follower. Because if someone saved it, they have intention to come back to it time and time again. Mm. And in terms of another objective is convince people to action. So someone said their research is to understand how agency influence resilience of people. Water supplies in the global south. Oh, wow. I think that's really interesting as well, because then I'm assuming you want people to become aware of the influence and how that impacts water supplies, particularly. That is a good one of convincing people to action, because sometimes your bit might not be you want someone to go and change the government. Like one person may not do that, but convincing a bunch of people to really go forth and take the knowledge that you've gathered for them and act in their local neighborhood as a group, that's really amazing. And then the thing you can track in terms of the marketing of that is once you get it out there, how are people commenting under those posts and those videos or whatever you're putting out there? How are they engaging? Are they atting other people? Are they atting the people of influence who are mentioned in the reports or who have impact in changing that thing? So that's a really interesting one. Another one, again, we're talking about commercialization, so you can't not have sales and selling. And selling could be, I know this is something I struggle with because I feel like it's
You're swearing at us now. Selling is like an ick word. But I like to challenge that because we sell every day. We negotiate with our child about what they're having for breakfast. We negotiate with our other half about where we're going for dinner. We negotiate with our colleagues. Yeah, we're always selling, and we struggle with language because there isn't anything else we can call it because
Mhm.
it is.
Everything's a sell. And like
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like it, but even like getting onto your PhD or getting into the university, you had to sell your skills, you had to sell your subject, you had to sell what you're researching.
Well, if you're trying to sell to get a grant or get some traction, mate, there's loads of things. You can't just you can't just dryly tell people the nuts and bolts of what you're doing. You've got to, market it, sell it rather means adding that layer of excitement and energy, but the why back to that, who we're actually talking to, that potential people.
Mhm.
It's got to act towards their motivators, whatever that may be. Yeah. And as you say, what you want them to do. But yeah, selling, we're swearing, it's out there. You've got to do selling.
I've said a swear word, but it's the nice thing about selling and whatever you consider your sale is for marketing, it's the biggest and best thing to track because it's the one that when we have to go out there and tell people that this has reached so many people, sometimes people are, numbers are relative to them. They're like, oh, you've, reached 2 million people or you've reached 200 people. If I've reached 200 people and those 200 people actually purchased it versus the 1 million people and nobody did anything.
Or engage or do whatever we want them to do, because we've got that feedback to insight one next week, and it's all about, we need that data. Because
Mhm.
if you're trying to move this project forward, you're trying to convince somebody to maybe sponsor you or partner with you or whatever their call to action is, you've got to give them some data. And sales and marketing give you great data.
Yes. And someone just said it doesn't always have to be for cost as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's data. And the thing about
The transaction doesn't have to be financial. It can be collaboration. It can be coming to an event. It can be helping out with a survey. It could be whatever we need it to do. Selling doesn't mean money most of the time.
yeah, but it's whatever it is for you in the work that you do, make sure you're tracking it. And in
Yeah.
marketing, there's tons of tools. I don't know if you have Facebook and you've been on the internet, you've probably magically been like, oh, why am I seeing this thing I looked at on this web page as a Facebook ad? Marketeers, they've done that. They found ways to track it, but that's really helpful. And that's
Yeah.
a really good way to know that something's converting and landing with people. And then finally, I think this one's a really good one for academia as well, is that citation and longevity. The work you're doing, you want it to have an impact in a lot of places to a lot of people. And that is another thing that's really good to track. I know with a lot of the publication platforms, you can see how many times your work has been cited by others. Keep track of that because that is another way of proving your impact, proving that it's going out there. Now, they could be citing it to argue with it, but we're not going to debate that bit. But that's a really good way of going and building up that consumer sentiment of like how people feel about your thing, the thing that you're putting out there, the work that you're doing, and getting testimonials from those and being able to share it. Like if someone has cited your in a positive light or cited the work you've done, many years later, like I continuously cite Dr. Joy Bulawini from her work back in 2016, I believe. Um, and she's written books and so forth. But those are other ways to make sure that your work has long-term impact when you're investing in it. So those are all the things. Keep those in mind. And going back what we said, what is your why? What is your overall goal? And if you can relate your overall goal to one of those, and then we can look at it in a marketing sense. And then all the tools you use later on is related to that. Now, drop some emojis. How are people feeling? Give me a thumbs up if it's making sense. Give me a can you do a confused face, Lucy, on here? I don't know.
Yeah, have a little look. Let's see if we can do a reaction.
What reactions can you do?
Uh,
I've got a shocked face.
yeah,
Okay.
that was me. I was just playing. I knew you'd see that one.
All right, we've got some thumbs up. Good, good. Okay. And we're gonna go on to the tools now. Now, in the age of AI, everyone's making a tool, and the market is a little tiny, incy teeny weeny bit saturated. But we're going to focus on the ones that are most practical to you. And if you're looking for a tool, I recommend looking at the people who are going to do the research for you. Love research. So this is an organization that they look at the marketing landscape every year and they make a map of it. So a lot of tools here, but I want you to look at this little one. If you can squint in, this is the most I could zoom. That little logo is for Canva. And this is the 2025 map of marketing digital tools that are out there. I'm very zoomed in. I'm gonna zoom out.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh my.
There is a tool for everything. However,
Oh, that's bonkers. And we had a little look, didn't we, yesterday about that? Is there an AI tool for that? The .com, the boy blue is like, but that. I mean, you also you pan out and there's a picture or something, doesn't it? That is thousands.
yes, 15,338 to be precise.
Whoa.
However, two things I'll caveat. Marketeers love to make everything a marketing tool. So there's things on here that I don't think is a marketing tool, like Hugging Face, which is more of a social AI platform to me. But it kind of gives you an example. There's a tool for everything. The only time you'd want to go this niche into tools is when you really pin down what you're doing and the goal you're trying to achieve. Realistically, the two tools that I'm going to share with you next are all you're going to need. So be aware, and especially when you're talking to other people about stuff and you might mention something like, oh, there's too many out there. And you can like even create your own mapping and all this. There's tools for days, but we're going to focus on what is the realistic ones for the goals that you're trying to achieve when it comes to the research and the work you're doing to commercialize it. So, oh, I skipped ahead a bit, but Notebook LM. Give me a thumbs up emoji if you've heard of Notebook LM.
I've heard of it, but I've never used it. Yep. Oh,
One.
we have
Okay.
a lone thumbs up. And I bet that was Robin as well, because I bet Robin's used Notebook LM.
Probably. It's so underrated as a tool. I absolutely love it. But it's because I will caveat this. Microsoft Notebook LM is a Google product. Microsoft does have their own version, but it is Microsoft, and I'm a Google girly. And I'm so glad this call is not on Teams, or else I would have personally cried a slow single tear. But there is a version of this. Everything I do here, there's a version of this in Microsoft, the Copilot version. It's not as nice and aesthetic, but we move.
Cool.
So essentially, Notebook LM is a research tool in a way. It's there to be your thinking partner. It's there for you to engage with whatever you put into it. Unlike the large chat tools out there, it's not pulling from everywhere. The underpinning is a AI model. There's like a puppy that's trained, but that puppy's trained to only pull from the information you put in the room. So it allows you to really get creative with the information that you provided. So it could be your research paper, it could be all your citations, and then you can continue to pull out and engage with that in a more interactive way. One of the key things about going from academic to commercial is translating. A lot of the times, one of the things I learned the hard way when I was converting my master's into a software is finiting that into a one-line pitch, a 60-second pitch, and really making sure that it was super easy for other people to understand my why and what I'm doing. And I think Notebook LM could really help you do that. It has a bunch of things that we're going to explore now, but you can convert things to audio, reports, flashcards, mind maps, videos, all of these things. So think of it as your translation partner. If you're currently writing and you have a like research or citations that you need to dive into, let this be the one, be the tool. So if you have a Google account, it is free. If you have a corporate Google account, it is the pro version is included in that. So the normal Google account that free, like a Gmail, you can get onto Notebook LM. The way you work with it is that you just add and drop any sources. So you can even paste text in there. I uploaded a document, so I just went choose file, the AI bias file, dropped it in there. It's going to be there twice, but it's fine. And whatever I do or whatever content I prompt or engage with, it's only going to cite what is in reference in the paper. So, for example, let's say,
So
uh,
basically, it can't start hallucinating and going off and having its own little ideas.
in one line, simple text. You can ask it to do anything that you would normally do. See, it's still quite a long sentence, but it would always cite its direct source of where it's pulling from. So you can see it pulled it like we're pulling it from this document. You can have up to 50, I think even more so. Oh, 300, shit. Sorry. It was 50 last time I checked, and now it's 300. So you can have up to 300 sources in here, and it will cite all of those. And you can just keep playing around with it, keep asking it things. It gives you information to ask it. You can ask it to create an analogy. One thing that I normally do when I'm working with tools like this, I am more, because I'm dyslexic, I am more a voiced text. So I will talk to it. And one of the ways you can talk to it is ask it to do an audio. So hopefully, Lucy, you're gonna have to let me know. This is completely AI generated from this paper.
Welcome back to the deep dive. So if you were
Can you hear that?
And indeed, yep.
Okay.
anywhere near digital commerce or content, you definitely know the promise of AI. We're talking boundless efficiency, right? Hyper personalization, automated decisions. It's changing marketing incredibly fast. Copy generation, ad spend optimization, you name it. But today we're going to dive into, well, the shadow side of all that speed. It's a really serious, often kind of hidden concern.
Offer same-day delivery based on things like number of Prime members nearby, how close an area was to a warehouse, stuff like that. Seems fair on the surface, but the final map. The areas excluded were disproportionately lower income neighborhoods.
So it made a podcast of two people talking about that paper. Now, how can you use this in terms of commercialization? One, you can figure out how the algorithm understands what you've written, but also you can think of ways of how will other people listen to this. If this is how other people are consuming it, what is the narrative and story you want to tell? And fun bit that you can do, you can interact with the two people who've made the podcast.
They're not people, they're AIs. This is all surreal.
Welcome back to the deep dive. So if you work anywhere near digital commerce or... Oh, hey, welcome. What's up?
Can you make it really simple? I want to write a LinkedIn post about this.
Oh, we love that. Absolutely.
That's a fantastic idea. We can give you the bullet point.
We can definitely simplify this complex topic.
Okay, let's unpack this for a quick, impactful LinkedIn post.
The core message is this. AI in marketing is a double-edged sword.
It promises efficiency and personalization, which is the good part.
But the shadow side is inherent bias.
This bias isn't intentional. It's systematic preferences.
These preferences are baked into the algorithms.
They come from the training data or the design choices.
And
So they're not real people, like Lucy said, but you can argue with them, which I love doing.
And that
But
was great. That was good content. I mean, we said a lot yesterday. Use it as a tool. Use it as we were talking about being nice to interns and AI as an intern versus kind of puppy of they don't give you the finish. But I love that conversational piece, which we didn't talk about yesterday. Helps you refine it.
Mhm. And it helps you figure out, okay, let me break this down with something that has consumed the internet and understands it in a very, also the American voice is a bit jarring for me, but it gives me snippets of things of like, okay, maybe I can make that part of my research or that part of my idea into content, into something that I can publish. So that's one bit. I personally haven't published the voices because I am fed up of the Americanization of the internet. But I do take some of the snippets and go on to other AI platforms and get a British voice, or I re-record it in my own voice, to be honest. Because then I can add my own spin to it. It gives me an idea for content of explaining something. And sometimes when you're too deep in it, like I can talk about the infrastructure of human bias versus confirmation bias versus da, 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 but to someone coming new to this stuff, they don't need that. They need to understand and have enough information to walk away with. So
I
that's
like
one way.
I like that as a user thing though. As you said, it gave you the idea, but then you re-recorded it and put your essence on it. Because I wouldn't want to just keep posting out those, as you say, rather cringy American voices. This is our project. This is something we're passionate about. It should be coming from you because we all represent our own projects, don't we?
Yeah. And that's also going into the other element. It can make PowerPoint videos, but you can't edit it. So this is the bit about Notebook LM. Like once you create it here, it is a thing you can use, but I recommend you use it. This is like the inspiration point because you can't edit these things, which is good because then you just have the base of it. But I know you all looked at Gamma last week or yesterday.
Yesterday, yep.
Yesterday. So this is something where I would probably put it in here and be like, "Ooh, I liked how it did this point. I liked how it did that point," and then take those bullet points to Gamma.
Yeah.
Because then I can edit it in Gamma where I can't hear. So let's have a look at the video it created. Again, it only has the paper to go in.
All right, let's talk about something huge. Artificial intelligence in marketing. I mean, it is completely changing the game for how brands connect with us. But there's this hidden danger, a blind spot inside the code that can lead to some really serious unintended consequences. So let's get right into it.
The promise of AI in marketing is it's staggering. I mean, imagine having a tool that can write the perfect email, design an entire ad campaign that targets exactly the right person, and even predict what you're going to want to buy next week. This isn't some far-off sci-fi thing. It's happening right now. and it's offering this incredible superhuman efficiency and personalization.
But here's the thing, here's the catch. As this quote points out, a lot of the time, we don't actually know how the AI is making its decisions. It's what they call a black box. And when you hand over that much
So I'm gonna let it run. But for me, I might have read that paper and not thought this quote was really moving. But now I can take that quote and go over to a tool like Canva, which we're going to look at in a second, and use it there. And just looking at how, and the other bit as well, you're putting your content, you're putting your stuff out into the internet, into these algorithms. So seeing how they understand it and then translating it for how your audience will understand it is really, really good. And it helps to break it down. Again, with the American voices, but Google, we're not going to get past that.
But
I hope they give us an
we have
option.
the curse of knowledge on our project. So as you say, that fresh perspective of that quote they pulled out, I think that, again, using it as the intern, using it as the sounding board is perfect.
Mhm. And for any the individuals who mentioned their projects, if you have any papers, we can drop it in and see how it interprets that as well. Interprets. I keep saying
Interprets, you're right.
interprets.
And
Uh,
if you have a paper but you haven't got a moment to download it, make that part of your homework. Is go away and have a play with this afterwards.
mhm. And even me watching this, I wouldn't use any of the imageries created because of the work I do. Or I can see the bias in the images itself, but it gives me an idea of how to break it down. How to break it down when I'm going out there, how to get it so other people can understand, and like pulling out the quotes that have impact as well. Because this one probably would have a lot of impact, but I might not want to post or think about like, oh, everyone knows that. So going back to Lucy's bit of bias of we know too much. And then the final bit, so there's it can make a video, it can do that, it can make a quiz. So if you wanted to quiz yourself on papers or quiz your audience, I think quizzes are really interactive. It helps people to know they've read or they've engaged with the source. Briefing documents, if you're having to share it externally, you can ask it to make it a shorter briefing document, highlight the key bits, especially if you spend all that time writing the long form, the thesis. This is another way of translating it into a format that others can understand. So you can edit, show the prompt that it used to create the briefing document. Flashcards, again, it's a very much a study research tool, but this is one of my favorite bits as well. So you don't have control over how it creates this mind map. It just takes information and clusters things together. And I think it's a really good way to see what the commonalities in your work are. So, for example, you can see the core themes. So maybe if I was doing a planning my content for a month or looking ahead, I might do a core theme of AI in marketing first, defining bias, and go through these each as a piece of content.
We've got a
And then,
question about how we reference this or sources used by Notebook. Well, and that the source used is the white paper.
mhm,
So there's no external sources coming. This is a closed
yep,
scenario. There's nothing else. Yeah. So that's obviously from the beginning is that, yeah, you're putting that one piece in and that's the only piece of information you're interrogating. Hence no hallucination, no finding random things that you haven't mentioned. It's perfect for that long document dissemination.
yeah. It's the same way you would reference you doing the work in terms of that research bit. It's only pulling from what you put in there. So there's no worry on like, oh, it's made up a paper. If honestly, if you put in a made up paper, that's a you thing. Um, but yeah, it's really good if you have those sources and you have the things already. It can help define that. But yeah, each of these could be a content piece, and it's a good way to map it out, and it goes pretty deep into each one. And sometimes you don't see the threads of your work. Like I have a very visual brain. So seeing things like this is like, oh, I can talk about underrepresentation in data and link that back to manifestation and examples that I'm seeing. Maybe I can do some content around that. Maybe that might be interesting for my audience. So I'm looking at all of these things from the audience perspective. Like if I was thinking about publishing anything now, my leading content piece would be around gender bias in Facebook jobs and job boards because I know that will do well with my audience because that's a question people ask a lot. Uh, I think those are the tools. Outside of where it could make it on the side, you can just have a conversation with it. So What was one of the questions? So I can ask it. I need a random question that's not related to this to see if it will make it up. I cannot spell today. Let's see what it says to that. So typically with your ChatGPTs or your other tools, it will make up an answer. There's no information. So I hope that helps to reinforce it's only pulling from the data
That
you've
was a
given.
very polite way of it going, what are you talking about? That's not what we're here for.
She's just like, yeah, we
It also
you
shows a
asked your
different
question.
relationship because, as we know, back to the puppy wants to please you, wants to give you the information. It didn't try and find anything that vaguely could have related to weather. It just said no.
Yeah. So this is and this is going back to that puppy example. This is the puppy in a room with the doors closed. Like it can't go anywhere else. So it's going to tell you, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of getting your work out there, using tools, this is the one I would recommend, and I recommend to a lot of people because tend to have a lot of ideas, or we have no ideas. It could be either side of the spectrum, but having it contained rather than going into ChatGPT or Copilot or one of those other tools that will send you into a long rabbit hole, this is a way to contain those thoughts and to be like, okay, this is my why, this is my goal. What can I pull out from here to publish? Cool. Any questions, other questions on notebook LMs? In terms of the protection element, once you delete a notebook, it's all gone. None of the sources are stored by Google. It is a self-contained area. The Copilot version of this isn't as fun, but in terms of the written text, it can do all of those things as well.
How much does this cost? Is this free? Is there a
Yes. So there's a
yeah?
free version and a paid version. The free version you can do most things, but not the video and the conversation. But you
Okay,
can make the podcast.
cool. So there you go. If you're planning to publicise a paper that's not yet published, so it doesn't sound like there'd be a problem with just putting an unpublished paper in because it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's not going into the wider algorithm. It's not going into anything. And once you delete the notebook, it's gone completely. So there's no problem there. I wouldn't put something that's about to be published into ChatGPT or any of those because those are more group training algorithms, where this one is self-contained.
Yeah. And as Anne said, the more developed the paper, the better. I guess the more data, the richer the data, the richer the conversation, for want of a better word, you can have with it.
Yeah. And then the more, like if you want to do something wider resources, you can do that as well. I don't tend to like all of the resources it will pull for itself if I'm just getting it to search because you have the discover sources option. So you can go and you can say AI marketing, but what I find happens, it starts to pull from things that are like blogs that are 10, 20 years old. So I mainly use it for the things I've already vetted. Even if I've just skimmed the top level, like what did I use it for the other day? I had to read a government paper on cyber trends and it was like 50 pages. Something
Oh,
I just made a podcast of it. I just chucked it in there, made a podcast of it. For something like that, I would do one source. If you're doing multiple sources, I would be very careful about which ones you add into your notebook.
we've got a couple of questions here about can the application provide analysis and summary for many articles in one go? So could you put 3 or 4 articles in here and do a comparison? Again, better than doing in chat because it's not going to try and go outside of that. Bridget's got a good question about second question that Anne had about the referencing in general. And could I create a video out of a paper from somebody else's paper?
Yeah, you can, any source, you can create a video off of it.
Yeah.
So any source you put in there, you can create content off of it. It will have the Notebook LM stamp on it, so everyone will know it was AI generated. You're referencing the papers that you put in here. If you put in multiple papers, you would reference multiple papers. So if you're publishing that video and you're citing it as something that you've created, you'll need to reference all the sources that are down this side
And
here.
I guess you could tell Notebook LM to do that and just say that with multiple papers, make sure everything is clearly referenced and tell them what you mean by that. So again, I think it's back to the prompts. The
Yeah,
training of the puppy to make sure that it knows exactly what you need it to then put out the other side.
that was not spelled right, but anywho. But yeah, So it's going back to the training. So I feel like the confusing bit is, do you reference Notebook LM? No, you reference the sources you put in there.
Yeah.
Coming back to references, what about the references we use in our paper? It's the rabbit hole. So when going back to, if you were using a paper, they would reference you, not your references, because you had a synopsis of that. And it's the same way Notebook LM is understanding your paper when you put it in here. So it's create a reference list of all these different ones. I can ask it, what are the common themes? The questions and the prompts can get deeper than these, but I'm doing some quick ones here. Let me see if I had any ones. I think I had Blue Peter style ones I prepared earlier.
I think Teresa's point around we encourage transparency, use AI producing, I agree. I think, and it's not that we're saying you don't do that, but again, Robin, I mean, I'm going to bring you in as our sort of expert on this angle. Oh,
Oh.
I picked him up. There we go. He's here.
Can you just say the question again? My mind has wandered.
That's all right. No, so we're using Notebook to put some papers in there to create. I guess it's what we're creating. Maybe we're creating an article. We would still want to reference that we've used AI to collate this article.
Oh, that's a good question. That's beyond.
Because I have to admit,
beyond me.
I don't. I mean, I do sometimes say, you know, when I've created like a LinkedIn post or something, that AI has helped me with this, but I don't generally. I guess it depends what you're using the content you've created for.
Yeah, I think disclosure is always the best. Is always the best sort of route here, particularly when you're able to sort of share that it's not entirely generated. There's a mix of, you know, in individual input and enhancement, which is, I think, where we should be using these tools.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So
Thank you.
for me, the way I view Notebook LM, because I am still responsible for the sources, I would cite sources. Would probably say that I use the tool to help create the video, and I don't have, especially if you're going to publish a video as is and you're not going to edit it or anything like that, definitely say that something was, because then you're mitigating the what it said, because you don't have control over that. You're not writing the script for that. You're not editing the script for that. But to generate ideas from papers, I would cite the paper because I'm going away and editing it. I'm not taking it. I'm not copying and pasting. It's kind of my rule of thumb. If I haven't copied and pasted from the AI tool, therefore I haven't used it. I don't know, because that's. It feels like we're going back to the Wikipedia days where everyone was like, "You can't use Wikipedia," and then they were like, "Oh, maybe you could." No, you can't. Anywho, with more sources, you get more things, and you can even ask it to in terms of your marketing and your outreach, helping you to create ideas, ask it to extract in plain English one key message. So this is going back to translating it for your audience. And with you being the expert in your own paper, then you can say whether the translation is good or not. I would only probably use this one, and I would edit it because it's too lengthy. But then you have that control. You have that element of saying what you can and can't do.
Yeah, and it's good as a brainstorming tool. And we are suggesting using this for your projects and to help you with your communications and your engagement strategy. So maybe that answers the question is we're not suggesting that this, well, in this particular workshop, we're not suggesting that we go and get lots of other people's data and put it in as well. We're just saying, hey, we've got a project which we really want to amplify. We want to play with some tools to that we could use. And this is great for that. So I think if we're just for the narrative of this is your project, this is your data, and we're just having some fun with using Notebook to brainstorm approaches, create content, plan how we can better amplify.
Yep. I'm just going to drop that link for Notebook LM plans there, and then we'll move on to our next tool. Oh, one thing I put it here so I wouldn't forget. When using any kind of AI tools, I tend to practice meta prompting in the sense of I tell what my idea is, and I ask it to write the prompt. So I ask it to, I want to create a strategy campaign for marketing a paper around AI bias, and I want to reach people who are da 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 da, and I just chat it all out, and I say, create me a prompt to help me achieve this goal. So that's meta prompting. I think is a really good thing to know when you're using those tools. Mm. Mm. Oh, so I was just reading. Ooh, the AI in citation is an interesting topic, and I think we've got a long way to go with some of the newer developments in AI tools coming out there, but that is not what I need to focus on. Um, Next one is Canva. Give me a thumbs up if you have heard of or used Canva. Let's drop some emojis. Whoop, whoop. I hope to see a few on this one. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. We love Canva. Canva's our friend. And it's going to be more your friend when I tell you more amazing things. So, no design skill needed, no budget. There's a free plan for Canva. Even through your university, you might be able to get access to the paid plan depending on if they have an education subscription. Overall, the main bit is getting your ideas out there and getting your research out there. It has the templates, it has the formats and designs that you can use that are understandable. The other thing that a lot of people don't know, but this is with the paid version of Canva, you can schedule content because one of the key things is being consistent with getting your message out there, being consistent with outreach, being consistent with the narrative. That's some of the things you can do. So you can quickly turn any research videos. And going back to what I said about Notebook LM gave me the idea of maybe, oh, I should put that quote together. I would take that quote and go into Canva and find a template that I like and then edit it there. So what? Let me say, give me 5 uh quotes, no more than 4 minutes each. And while it's doing that, I'll dive in. So, high level, you have templates. Now, we all love LinkedIn, and I am saying that with like you have no choice but to agree with me. Please, everyone give me a heart right now because you do love LinkedIn. You can create templates. I need more hearts, people. Come on. Come on, academias. We love LinkedIn. You know, if you say it, you will believe it. You can create templates that work directly with LinkedIn, banners and posts and so forth. That is the cheesiest image. It's not helping. But if I can pick a template, I'm like, ooh, this would work. I can go straight to customizing it and using it. And then that makes my journey of getting my message out there a lot quicker. So let's go see what Notebook LM said. Lack of education, efficient. Oh, this one's a nice one. No one owns it.
I'm going to say for the audience that we have covered Canva as individual sessions historically. So those videos are still available where George goes through the Canva 101. So if you're going, this is a bit fast for me, rewatch George's video, which is on our YouTube channel, but also Canva has some great training. It's also really intuitive. The key thing with Canva is have a play. It's very much designed to make it easy for you.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. Change this to a brand color. So I'm going through just to show you how I would quickly adjust something to fit. And then this picture is not me, so let me get a picture of myself because that sounds so vague. Oh, I can generate a picture. Um, let's see what it generates. Okay, there she is. That is also not me, but hey, bam, we have a post. Other things you could do, so that's creating the post and that's getting the message out there. And that's the kind of funnel I would say from using Notebook LM to Canva to getting it to your audience. So I hope those 3 steps make sense. The other things you can do in here is once you start to understand what your audience likes, and once you've created a brand, I know you've spoken about brands, but I won't dive into it, but you can store all those brand things together. So the fundamental bits are like the logos, the colors, the fonts. One of the things you learn in psychology and marketing is that people need to see things around 8 times to remember it. So having consistent logos and fonts and colors and so forth helps to get that message through there because we skim a lot. You can have your brand voice. So with using a lot of these AI tools, the ways to avoid them all sounding the same is to really specify what your tone of voice is. So do you, like I've been saying the word so a lot, do you say the word so? Do you use it? Do you talk in a more commercial, conversational way? Is there a reading age that you need to write at to make sure your audience can consume the content you're putting out there? One of the newest things that have come out with Canva is that you can get to create a brand guideline for you. Now, it's not going to do everything, but I think this is a really good infrastructure of using a tool that you're already familiar with to help you put together what these things mean. So, now that I've said I say so a lot, Lucy, I can't unhear it.
We can run the
Thinking about
transcript through and see how many times she said so. We can do that, you know.
Oh gosh, my latest filler word. Thinking about what we said before, a few of you wrote your purpose, your why. So you chuck that in here about your brand. Your brand is essentially the message of what you're trying to change, what you're trying to do, what you're trying to get out there. Thinking about your mission and your vision. It's giving you the prompts and the format to really help you think through it. Now, logo and so forth, these are other things that you can explore later on, colors as well. And to edit anything in this document, you literally just click and I can change it, save it. It becomes my document. It becomes a document that I can share with anyone who's coming on my team. So before I've been requested by academics to help market their product or build their website, if they were to give me this and I can see they started doing some thinking about it, the way I could move their project along would be a lot quicker because then the first month isn't spent pulling all this information out of them. Going through, and then one of the lovely things I think is really relevant is once you start thinking about your colors and your images and so forth, your graphics, these are also things you can start applying with your presentations around your project and your research. These are things that you can start doing, like what is your colors? How do you think about the charts that you use to get that information? Data visualization is a whole course in academia, and it's for a reason because translating data into ways that people understand is super important. Because if I just make that one graph orange, you're only really going to think that's the important one. Having all these thoughts written out into a document can make that process of getting your message out there a lot quicker and a lot clearer. Oh, continue editing, save, done, and then bam, I have a brand guideline, which I love. I'm going to do this for all of my clients this afternoon. You see, I absolutely love that. It's a full document and it's something you can update and engage with.
I
You can
love this because it helps you think
adjust.
through everything. Because we've got video coming up. We talked about photography before, but it has all the components you need to think about. I know brand is a weird word because we maybe not associate that with our project or whatever we're working on, but it's got, again, as we said earlier, we've got to give it needs to have a voice. It needs to have customers, you know, audience, whatever it is, segmentation, and this puts it all in one place for you.
Mhm.
It's
And it
great.
helps you to think about translating all of that. Like, I can take all that inspiration from Notebook LM and start putting it into here. And it's like, this is how I would actually translate that message. I don't like how they've pulled out these themes. These are the things I would go with. How
Yeah,
are you doing on time, Lucy?
we are absolutely fine. Yeah.
And then getting that message out there. So with the paid plan, which is only £13 a month, I think is worth it because you can use Canva for everything. But I am aware that I'm probably part of a cult and, but it's worth it. It's worth the
But it
free
does a lot more now. Because yeah, you can end up paying that for a scheduler tool. Thinking about all the pieces on there. There's a question here about, can you ask Notebook LM to create your brand guidelines?
I don't think it has that concept, but I will ask because it will be basing the brand guideline on the documents I've provided. So unless I put a template brand guideline in there, I don't think it can. Ooh. Eh. Yeah, it's basing it on the research. So it's creating me a brand guideline around AI bias and AI
It hasn't
engagement.
got the data, and this is it, because it's closed, it doesn't know what that means. So you could go back to the tools we used yesterday, like chat is great with things like brand guidelines, because lots of people have asked it for that.
Mhm.
And maybe not put your, confidential, potentially, project information into that, but you could give it a generic, good, strong prompt around the skeleton fundamentals of your project and what a good guideline would look like. But actually, the way the Canva's broken it down, it's not a massive document. It's all just the different pieces.
Takes you step by step.
Yeah.
We can go into Canva AI and Canva, if you wanted to pay for one tool that covers all of your AI needs, I will advocate for Canva. I know it sounds wild, but you can do almost everything you can do in ChatGPT and Canva. It's just a different kind of format. I'll come back to scheduling because now I feel like I'm on my save Canva. So if you went Canva documents, you can have it create ba-do-ba-do, ba-do-ba-do, and it should, don't let me down here. Who needs ChatGPT? Come on, like, come
This
on.
is great. But again, this has evolved a long way from last time I had a good rummage around Canva. Because it started really just taking out Adobe, didn't it? Just
Mhm.
helping us create assets. And again, the richness of the AI, and again with all of these tools, they've really listened to what their customers want to use it for.
Mhm.
I subscribe to Canva as well. I'm part of the cult with you, so I'm fine with that.
Um, it has all the things. I think Canva is one of those tools that if you prefer a good, clear user interface, it's there. If you want to do less of that design thinking and you just want to get down to doing the thing, I think it's the AI tool to go to because it also has spreadsheets, which I haven't dabbled in as much, but I have been exploring what it would look like to put some of the academic research and papers in here and see if it can make like really nice graphs and imagery and just make it understandable because a lot of it is just translating that. So if I were going to pay for one tool, I would pay for it. If you have a website, can you get the brand guidelines from the? Yes, you can. So you can pull it straight from the existing website. Oh, you can also publish a website in Canva, by the way, which is another thing you can do. But I'm going on tangents. What was I meant to be talking about, Lucy?
So we were looking at the brand guidelines and looking at that tool and making sure that we had all those pieces, because I know we went down that quite quickly. It's got all the different elements that we need to consider.
Yes. So if you have a website already, depending on where you built it, if it was WordPress or Squarespace or so forth, you should have access to what the colors are, the hex colors, and you can build it from there. If you don't have access to all of that because you didn't build it, you can take a screenshot of it, put it in Canva, and start figuring out the bits and bobs. Um, but you can make a website in Canva.
Again, which keeps everything in one place, which is much easier administratively.
Yes.
I've got a question about whether we can use Canva AI to make graphical abstracts from papers you upload. But would you upload a paper into Canva? I think this is different conversations, isn't it? That's not what Canva's about.
It's not, but I'm trying. I'm getting a lot of lovely ideas because with Canva AI, you can upload PDFs,
Yep.
and I'm just going to take exactly. Can you make exactly what you said and prompt it into? So there's two
We,
places of Canva AI. There's Canva AI in like documents and those bits, and then there's Canva AI like a tool that you can use to make things, which is where I am now. So you can see on the side it says Canva AI below brand there. I've uploaded that bias paper we were looking at earlier. Let's see what happens. I've not tried this before. I love new things, but I'll show you what the Canva AI in this format can do. Ooh, no, it's just describing it. It's pulled the information though. Interesting.
It's thinking about it, but it's not quite sure what to do. Would you like me to create a visual layout mock-up? Oh, yes, please.
Yes. Like, let's see.
Yeah,
Yeah. So this is the limitations of different things, knowing where their strengths lie. But what I could
I
do,
love AI though. It offered to do a thing, and then you said yes, and it went, oh dear, no.
uh, maybe if I tried one of these, I could ask it based on what is pulled out. But yeah, it was a step too far. And I think, to be honest, ChatGPT would struggle with that as well because it would need a little bit more direction of what data, what paper, what is the thing. Think of it how you'd input it into a spreadsheet. So maybe if you had the spreadsheet data, it can do that and you can translate it that way. But straight from the paper, no, we pushed it too far. One of the things that I do enjoy though is it can make certain things interactive. So let's have a look at something. Feel free to keep chucking your ideas. I want to keep challenging this as well. Uh interactive restaurant menu, which is very generic. Oh no, don't do this to me. Okay, there you go. So Canva AI can also code things and then you can turn it into straight into a website that other people can interact with. So if there was an element of your paper or your research that was very storytelling, or you wanted people to be able to click through things, you can put it into Canva AI and it will code something up, and then you can publish that straight away as a website. This only is on the paid plan. The website will sit on a Canva domain, which I'll show you in a second, but it interacts and you're able to collect data. While that's coding away, let me go to one I've done previously. I think I did one for a client on like chocolate. Dibba-jibba-joo. No, yes. Da-da-da-da-da. Websites. Oh, okay. So this is something I made with Canva AI. It's a way to, I didn't edit this. I'm not, the design isn't, but it's published. So I can go here. I can change it to, and that domain's not taken. So it will sit, because I have a paid account, it has my company name in there, but normally it'll just be my Canva site. Republish. Lovely quote from Nelson Mandela there. Copy, and I will pop it in here for you all to poke around in. But yeah, then it is a live website.
wow.
And it's interactive. You can add another color. You can change things. So it's testing the hex codes of color accessibility, which is really important to do in
Yeah.
design. So if you're testing your brand, but yeah, this is something that I can go and put into my website. I actually have something on my website that I built in Canva code. Uh, what is going on with the internet today? Don't tell me I'm being hacked. That is not going to be fun. Okie dokie. So, the Wheel of Power and Privilege. So this one was custom coded. This wheel here was custom coded by my CTO. But this create your personal wheel is something I did in Canva AI, and I was able to publish it. And I did it the day before I was doing a public talk, and I got 400 people to use it, and they all were able to use it at the same time from a QR code.
Wow.
So there's lots you can do. Let's see how is our code going. Oh, it's done. Our website menu's done. So, oh, it's tallying it as well. And you can go back and forth. So my wheel quiz that I did, I think I had 6 iterations uh, before I published something. But anywho's, these are all the things. I'm now, how are we on time, Lucy? Should I start wrapping up?
No, we are all good.
Okay.
Teresa, thank you for joining us. I know the time does fly by, but no, I think for me it's exploring all these tools and really just taking the overwhelm away was one of the key objectives for this session, because this is a tools series, but we don't want to just overcomplicate everybody's inboxes, basically, your tabs. So the fact that Canva can do a lot, and we had some concerns and cautions around the chat and the sort of the data privacy. So I think Notebook really helps us with that, so we can really optimize and create our own little kind of test environment where we can work and brainstorm, but feeling quite confident in terms of the data security, which I think was a big thing that always comes out with this, especially with research in early stages, but then also gives us ideas and tools and ways of sharing that research and engaging people differently. But it's putting a process around it, because we're all at different stages in our projects and how we want to share. And I think this stops the overwhelm, because we want to all move forward. Because a lot of people on this call will be doing it around their teaching. They've already got a full-time job. So how do we move it forward without? I mean, this. You know, doing your masters as well as working, as well as doing some teaching as well, haven't you? So it's like you've got to slice this up and make sure it's still moving in whichever direction you want it to be.
And that's why I was saying if I had to go back and do my master's again, I would probably stick with those two. That's my main tools because I can use them in multiple ways all through my project.
Yeah,
Whereas I find when I go into really like they were really niche data science tools, which were helpful, but I could use it for this one aspect and that was it.
yeah,
Whereas having something that you can use multiple ways and continue to grow with you even past your project is really important.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, you can use it. You don't have to install anything to use Notebook LM. It's all in the browser.
As is Canva.
And Canva does have a phone app if you really want to get jazzy with it. Um,
And I mean, somebody mentioned yesterday about creating Gamma slides, and could Gamma then make a leaflet out of it? But you could take what you've created in Gamma and put it into Canva and play. You can do slides in Canva, can't you? It just doesn't. I don't think it quite has the same level of engine as Gamma does in terms of the prompts to working out what your slides will have.
yes, so doing it's not doing the content for you,
No.
whereas Gamma is.
Yeah.
So you have the templates where you can have it like this is a 15 pager on chocolate, and I can go in and edit, and it will put the text and everything where I wanted to put it. Then you have the layouts where you can pick a layout to match your brand styles and colors, and it will adjust it to that. So it's definitely more, you've already done the thinking and the thought around what you want your slides to do, and you come to Canva to just apply that information to a design.
Yeah.
Whereas Gamma, you don't have to do the thinking. Sorry, I have a little thing. Too many of speakers right now are using Gamma, and I'm like, do you know what your slides say?
I mean, again, we have this like kind of caution every time we talk about AI is it is a tool. It gets you V1. So yesterday, Blue, we got it together, but you're going into each slide, you're tweaking the wording. It takes it away from being blank slides literally, and it's also great if you've got a slide deck which just needs a bit of shooshing, needs a bit of energy to it. Put
Mhm.
those in there, but yeah, you still it chucks out V1. You should not be putting that up in front of your presentation, in front of your audience, and people do.
They do. So you can get it to generate the ideas of so if you have all the content, oh, or if you have something already in PowerPoint, that's Microsoft, yeah, PowerPoint, you can upload it to Canva and it can convert that slides deck for you. So if I download, let me check first what I have on my computer. So you can upload a media file. So this is a PowerPoint file, and Canva will convert it to a Canva file, and then I can do all the designs and stuff in there.
Cool.
and just upload it. But with Canva and with all these tools, knowing your why, knowing what you're doing, knowing what's going on in terms of what your end goal wants to be, super helps it. So yeah, all these things are editable, and this came straight from a PowerPoint.
Brilliant stuff. As we are kind of wrapping up, are there any questions or any scenarios people would like us to play with in these tools?
Highly recommend. If you're going to pay for one, pay for Canva. I'm trying to think of a thing it can't do.
It's evolved so much over the last couple of years.
I just really want them. So on the live website, you can collect like how many people. Oh, 14 of you visited today. How many people visit, but I can't do more than that. So it's like part of me wants it to be more, but realistically, it's fine as is for that basis of starting out.
Well, and also in our series that we've run historically, we have also run website creation with Ben, which is again on our YouTube channel, going through okay, we just need a basic landing page. We need a call to action place to send to people. This is what Canva's absolutely perfect for, isn't it? Which could just be a synopsis of what the project is and the CTA of sign up here to download the white paper or to here are 3 events. Can you join these? So I think Canva is perfect for that. And that's what the key narrative of the session is with Ben is, if we do need a website, what do we need it for right now? Do we need to go and pay someone to do it? Actually, no, we don't. We can use a tool like Canva and get that out there, get the data, which then helps us maybe get the grant or the membership contribution, or however we're going to fund this to move forward to then pay someone to build a website. But actually building it yourself helps, and learning from what actually gets engagement means that when you do go and build something more, WordPress, whatever it might be, you have a lot more information about what your users actually want and what you should focus your time on. So yeah, there's a key narrative through all of this. It's just let it grow organically, but get that data as you're going.
Yeah, it should grow with your budget. I don't think your
Yeah,
budget should dictate that you build something huge straight off the bat. Because like even with this, in terms of data collection, now not saying that the person was fibbing, but now we for sure know someone was in Norway. Like
that's amazing, isn't it? I'm jealous. Robin, I'm going to ask if you could grab the YouTube channel because I had a tech fail yesterday, so I'm on the wrong laptop.
have a result of a PhD.
But Cheryl will also make sure that Frank shares that, because that's something that it's good to have access to. Because I say, with these have evolved, and we've done the website session a couple of times. But again, it's just so useful just to reflect on what that needs to do.
In terms of, so we had a question about, is your data secure in Canva? Yes. You're responsible for what you share and what goes out. So in terms of publishing this website, I can now go and unpublish it and take it off. So or if I'm sharing something with people, I can control the access of this if it's public or not. So that's how your data is on there. There isn't anything I can think you're putting into Canva that should be high risk in any way, really. If you're making graphs from statistical data, you're probably just going to put in the numbers of what it is. But everything you own is similar to using Google, Microsoft, any kind of cloud provider. Can you upload files in a free I don't know. I think you can upload files in the free version. I feel like the paid version tends to limit you in terms of the AI tools rather than what you can do. Uh, but let me have a quick look. Da, 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 da. I hate when it's yearly because it always shocks me. I'm like, oh, what? Da, da, da. I think you can. I haven't seen any.
And you've got a free trial option there. So I would say do the free trial, which is normally a couple of weeks, isn't it? And have a play and see what it can do for you. Just make sure you cancel before there's a charge.
Yeah, all the design stuff tends to be on the free plan. It's all the extra bits like scheduling content, using more AI stuff that's on the paid ones. So you should be able to do that fine.
Mm.
And then for those who really, really want to get into the design jar, they've recently made a tool, Affinity, completely free, which is like, if you don't want to pay for Adobe and Photoshop, Affinity is the one. But that's already if you know how to use Adobe and Photoshop. Okie dokie. if you don't have any other questions, I'll start wrapping up. So high level, I would say there are lots of tools. We looked at the map of like all the tools out there. I would definitely, if I could only pick one, I would pick Canva, the paid version. If I was using two tools, I would balance that between Notebook LM and Canva. In terms of content creation and planning, there are things out there to help you find inspiration, like Days of the Year, which is like a today's International Cookie Day or so forth. Scheduling tools, as Lucy mentioned, you can pay for a separate tool, but if you're going to pay for a tool, you can pay for Canva and schedule it in there. The difference between paying for scheduling in Canva and other tools is other tools will give you more data because that's all they do. Whereas if your goal is to get stuff out there, you get stuff out there. Content generation, Notebook LM, Copilot, Canva, and then stock photography. Unsplash is your human-based stock photography, not your AI-generated one. And my final ask, or when you're looking at using these tools and getting them out there, going back to your why and why you're doing it and your overall goal, you need to track the data. You need to collect it in whatever shape or form. To be honest, a good old spreadsheet is still what we use, what I use. It's the most trustworthy thing. I can see what my data is doing over time best. I can collect data from multiple sources. I have tried the using AI tools to pull in different things, but for me, it wasn't worth the hassle because when I needed the answers, it was better for me to go collect the data from the platform and chuck it into my spreadsheet that I can do my analysis from it. I know I'm a nerd, therefore I probably like way more data stuff than most people do, but a spreadsheet is a spreadsheet is a spreadsheet. You can't go wrong with that part. And in terms of collecting that data, especially when it comes to social platforms, as Lucy mentioned, you have that YouTube video on building websites. So it's probably going to mention something about Google Analytics on there.
Yeah.
But most website builders or platforms, even Canva, give you data. So collect that and store it. Any social media platform has a way for you to collect data. And when you decide what your goal is, then you know what you're collecting. You do not need all the stats. If your goal is awareness, then you're looking at how many people have seen it. You don't need follow account. You don't need to collect the rest of it. Focus on your goal and getting it through there. And then because I know everyone loves LinkedIn, because you all put hearts up, LinkedIn does have
We
analytics.
only did that to make you happy, Joanne. We did that to make you happy.
Everyone has to love LinkedIn. Um, yes, I would be happy to share the template, that spreadsheet template. I was thinking to make it in Canva, but I don't know if I'm just trying to make everyone addicted to it. But I'll share the Google spreadsheet template to track all the data. Um, Tracking that data is really important to know that what you're doing, what you're spending your time doing, is worth it. We live in a world of endless content, endless socials, all of these things. If you don't have any type of numbers to say what's helping you achieve your goal, it does feel pointless. And this is someone who works in the industry. The numbers make it worth it. I'm not saying that as a data scientist. I'm saying that as a marketer. The numbers make it worth it. So make sure you're tracking those.
And
And yes,
also,
summarize.
a good point, linking to that point, is use these tools to really refine your message and your why so that you stand out in all that noise.
Mhm.
This is the key a key thing for me is because your projects are amazing. They're special, that they're impactful. Looking at the conversation, the people who shared, we want to make sure they don't get lost in that noise.
Mhm. And people want it. Like, this
Yeah,
is the other thing. A lot of people are wanting to know genuinely who's doing the research and stuff in a world of misinformation and disinformation and all the bias stuff I see. People want to hear from the academics. They want you to translate what you're doing so they have something in their arsenal when they're talking to people who are misinformed.
yeah,
So, yes, academic language is great, but being able to translate it for others to understand is brilliant. And using these tools can really help you do that.
brilliant. Thank you very much, Joanne. That's wonderful. So thank you all very much, and I shall hopefully see lots of you back this time next week. I've put the micro credentials link in there again for you to get that, and also the YouTube channel we've had there's three series in there for you to have a look through. Some of which we are repeating, but they're always evolving, and some of which are new, like the videos and Canva and our websites. Go off and have a lovely rest of your day.
Bye, everyone.
everyone's going off to get some lunch now.
Great work. Job done.
Yay, bye everyone. Everyone get Canva.
Not a commission, really.
Literally, I'm just like, I should really get an affiliate link or something. Oh.
It's a really good tool. I've subscribed as well because it is just so useful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think I might actually make that spreadsheet in there and see if it works. I don't know. Yeah.
I think really great engagement from the webinar crew. Like your ability to pull them in and make them interact, I think was great. Like, so they're normally like much more sporadic, but I think if